Welcome to Powerhouse with Coach Maker, your weekly engagement into the heart of the nation's political and economic pulsation. Live 7 p.m. on SSBC television. This is Powerhouse, where realization meets empowerment, just on SSBC television.
And tonight, Powerhouse with Coach Maker has crossed Jonglei State, where we are going to discuss the state preparations ahead of the upcoming general elections in December 2024. As Powerhouse dealt into the state preparations ahead of upcoming general elections in December 2024, we find ourselves at the heart of Jonglei State, its capital city, Bo Town. And tonight we have the privilege of speaking with His Excellency Denay Jock Chagor, the governor of Jonglei State, to learn about the proactive measures his government is undertaking as the countdown to the elections begins. With the state-funded institutions like the National Election Commission and Political Parties Council gearing up for election, let's delve into the preparations being made by the state, and in particular in Jonglei State tonight. Join us as we explore these crucial topics and gain insight into the preparation shaping the future of Jonglei State and South Sudan as a whole. Now, let's take a look and hear from the governor what he has to say as the state is preparing for December general election. Like we have heard from the National Election Commission some time back that they have started preparation and they are going to do civic education and formation of a state election commission at the state levels. That is part of preparation for the December 2024 general election. But with this limited time, let's find out from the state governments what they are doing, what they are working, how they are preparing in terms of security and infrastructure in the state. Like I said, this is Coach Maker coming live from the capital of Jonglei State, Bo Town.
Welcome to Powerhouse with Coach Maker, your weekly engagement into the heart of the nation's political and economic pulsation. Live 7 p.m. on SSBC television. This is Powerhouse, where realization meets empowerment, just on SSBC television.
Hello dear viewer of SSBC, welcome back after that short break. Like I mentioned earlier, that Powerhouse with Coach Maker is focusing on the state's preparations for the upcoming general election in December 2024. And today we have crossed to Jonglei State, where we are hosting the governor of Jonglei State, His Excellency Denay Jock Chagor, to tell us his state preparations ahead of December general election. So Governor, welcome to SSBC Powerhouse. Just to proceed with my interview, despite the initiation of preparations by the National Election Commission, political parties have yet to reach an agreement. With time ticking away, do you believe that election will proceed as scheduled? If so, how do you view its credibility?
Well, thank you so much and welcome to Jonglei Coach, and thanks to SSBC for hosting us today. I personally believe that election is possible, and I personally believe that election should happen. And I also believe that election must happen in South Sudan. And I do believe that because this is not just a normal elections. It's an election in which we want to rescue the integrity of our country. It's an election in which we want to bring our country back together. You know, during the war, our country was in pieces. And at some point, it's still in pieces as of right now. So until we come together and have an elections where we will elect all our leaders, this is where now you can have the support of all the grassroots, all the citizens and all the public of South Sudan. Without that, a continuation of the transitional government will be a bad South Sudan forward. But some people don't see it that way. They look at it that an election right now will be an election of where some parties are going to win, some parties are going to push out, but that's not really the case. The South Sudanese outside there, they know better. They know what kind of government do they want. They know who the leaders that they want. So during election, it will be a different setup, and that's where I want to encourage, all the parties to, get over their fear that elections are going to be taken away or rigged or whatever. Let's get over our fear and put the country first, and leave our positions that we will have different position and whatsoever.
Okay, which agencies, like now you have said you believe election will take place, so which agencies and institutions do you believe hold the most significant responsibility in safeguarding the electoral process and rebuilding trust in the election outcomes at the state level?
Well, first of all is the Election Commission. The Election Commission must start its preparation for elections, and Election Commission, must be funded adequately so that it covers the entire country to prepare the ground. Number two is a political party council to make sure that registration is done for all the parties. I have seen the political party council put up the registration to $50,000. That's ridiculous. Nobody should do that in this country, because it's not a matter of party who's running for election. It's rescuing the country. If somebody see this,
but they say us broke down that 50,000. Because I just met with them before I came to Jonglei. So there are so many stages where that breakdown of the 50,000 come in, which can be paid in pounds.
Well, it's not the matter of paying it in dollars, paying it in pounds, but even if you're paying it in SSP, it's still too much. Right? It's still too much in the sense that if you look at our economy right now, okay, ordinary citizens are going, empty, not even have daily food. Where would the political parties would be raising that much money to pay it to a registration of a political
Are you also confirming that the political parties are broke also?
The entire country, we're broke. The entire country is broke. Okay, we are the financial situation that we are in now. That's why we think that elections should be done, so that we rescue our
but the citizens are saying if these politicians can drive V8s, $50,000 is not.
It depends on who are driving V8. Some of the people who are driving V8 are not the head of political parties. Some of the people who are driving V8, they get their V8s in a different means, not through political parties. So when it comes to political parties, it is a whole different story. And we shouldn't raise the bar. There are independent political parties who are not even part of the transitional government right now. There are individuals who would want to run as independent candidates. They want to be registered. And if you raise the bar so high, in other words, it would be translated that you want to eliminate some of the people who cannot pay the price. And we don't want to do that. We want elections that is inclusive, that bring all South Sudanese together, whether rich, poor, wherever. They need to come together so that they show their face and show what they can do to this country.
So as the state government, what measures are being implemented to facilitate the smooth movement and establishment of the Electoral Commission across all counties of Jonglei State, particularly in terms of infrastructure support? Because I've just heard from the national election that they are going to do civic education and formation of a National Election Commission at the state level. So what measures are you putting in place, especially with this infrastructure?
We have been ready all along in all our 9 counties, but we have to wait for the National Election Commission for the directive and the guideline. What procedure do they have? What do they need to be? What do they want to see in the states and all the counties? And then now the contribution of the states, we are well ready for it, right? There'll be no state that will be ready more than us.
Okay, so how is the state government prioritizing security measures to ensure the safety and stability of Jonglei citizens ahead of the upcoming general election in December 2024?
In Jonglei State, our security is our priority number 1. And we do it in a way that our own citizens We want to make sure that they're not fighting among themselves. We've seen it in so many states where within the state itself, there have been a lot of problems. And in Jonglei, we've been minimizing that, and so far it hasn't happened. We just have a problem of our neighbor, the Pibor administrative area, that have been doing child abduction, raiding cattle every now and then. And on our side, our people have not gone to Pibor. We've been just enduring those attacks every now and then. When it comes to the election security, first we are working together with our local administrations from County level, Payam, Buma, and all the chiefs and all the local administration. They have to be part of this, because this election is going to be different. It's going to be different in the sense that we don't have united army. The entire security apparatus of South Sudan, there are some places where army cannot even go there. There's some place where the army is put there, okay, it's supporting this party or that party. So there are some places where we have to work with the local authority to make sure that they follow what the government wanted to do. And we've been working so well in Jonglei State, and I'm very hopeful that during elections, I don't think there will be any problem in Jonglei. There can be problem if politicians do not follow the rules, if election irregularity are not being handled in a proper way, in a way that will not allow any election cheating or rigging, that cannot be allowed. And that is the crime. You cannot do it anywhere.
That takes us to the next question, because you have talked of harming, some are taking side, the political parties. So given that the country is gearing up now for the general election, so one mandate of the revitalized agreement, civilian disarmament for the public security. Has Jonglei State taken steps to implement this mandate?
Well, this mandate is very tricky to do it right now, especially in Jonglei State. And it does have to do with the agreement setup or the mandate of the peace agreement. We have a problem with our neighbor, Pibor administrative area. The moment our citizens are disarmed, that's the moment they will come and do despicable horror in this state. So what we've been putting forward is that we accept disarmament. We want disarmament all across this country, but let it be done in a very proper way, in a way that those who are disarmed cannot be killed by those who are not yet disarmed. So we're asking for a concurrent disarmament, a thoughtful disarmament, where it's not putting some group in disadvantage. For example, if our state is disarmed now, tomorrow you'll be waking up with a lot of people being killed, a lot of children being taken, a lot of family being destroyed.
But you're working in hand with the Pibor administrative area, so you can't do that at the same time?
We work in hand. The problem in Pibor is that the general population do not listen to the administration in Pibor administrative area. They don't listen to the administration in the center. And that's because of the lack of development, the lack of the civilization in that area there. If you go to chief administrator now in Pibor itself, you see him speaking the same language I'm speaking. He's calling for peace. He's calling for cooperation. But when he go to the rural areas, they don't listen to him there. Those people have different mentality. They do their own thing. Recently, it was last week, we did a peace conference in Akobo that brought the commissioners in Pibor, brought the chiefs. While they were in Akobo, in our county, discussing peace among all the chiefs, cattle raiding was going on. Child abduction was going on in Akobo. Imagine, while they have their own people with us, they were raiding cattle on the other side. That's what makes it so complicated to deal with people in the same area. It's very, very difficult.
So how will the national government also deal with you people now, the Jonglei and people, during election time?
What will happen is that we're calling for deployment of the army in Pibor administrative area. On our side, we don't have any issue. Okay? Whatever directive is given, we follow it. Okay? As we speak now, it's been 3 years. We have not gone to people. We have not conducted any cattle raiding or child abduction there. We haven't done it because we adhere to that there have to be peace among South Sudanese. But for them, it's not the case. It's all daily basis, you know. And now our people are just getting used to it.
The Jonglei people, they don't abduct children from people.
Well, it was done at some point, I think like 3 years ago, when I'm sure you've seen when our youth were coming back from people, they came through board here. It was that time, okay? And from now, it has been almost 3 years that our citizens have not gone. But on the other side, you know, how many times has it been? Daily basis, okay? So now we're telling our people not to repeat the same thing, but we're asking the central government to involve, because people now is administrative area by itself. We don't have any jurisdiction to go and enforce the law in Pibor. It is the mandate of the central government. And that's why we're calling for army to be deployed in this area so that they stop these cattle raiders. It's not all the people of, you know, Pibor, by the way. It's few individuals, you know, those criminals there. That's why we're calling for disarmament of them.
It's alleged that, or rumors say that, Pibor administrative area want to come back to Jonglei State. How can you respond to that?
We welcome them. That will be some also part of the solution, because if they're part of us, you know, we would have jurisdiction to deploy security forces in Pibor. We would have jurisdiction to deploy security forces in Liel Kwangole, in Manibol, and all these areas. But right now, when they are administrative area by themselves, we don't have any jurisdiction.
But come to think of it, before initially you people were together and you were not able to solve that issue. So even if you bring them together now, what makes you think that you can?
Well, you know, that was before the war of 2013, when we were together. And at that time, the security setup in the country was completely different. There were some initiatives that were neglected, that were not, you know, taken up seriously. You know, in my opinion, I wasn't there, but if I was there, I would have different initiative. We should prioritize education and health and development in that area. All of these places, all of these villages far away from Pibor, we need services there. If we do have services, if we did put up services back in 2006 and all of this time, this would have been different by now. These people are living in the middle of nowhere.
Let's take a short break.
Welcome to Powerhouse with Coach Maker, your weekly engagement into the heart of the nation's political and economic pulsation. Live 7 p.m. on SSBC television. This is Powerhouse, where realization meets empowerment, just on SSBC television.
Welcome back after that short break to proceed with our interview. Governor, what specific steps is the local government taking to ensure a transparent, fair and secure election in Jonglei State? We have just talked about security a while ago.
Well, there are steps that we're taking, even the awareness that we're doing, that we want to minimize election irregularities that have to do with cheating ballots, you know, voting registration, all of this kind of thing. We want to make sure that we give all our citizens fair chance of choosing their leaders without fear of anything. So that's why we're working with our local communities to make sure that they too can also be election observers, so that they can see who is trying to rig the election, who is trying to cheat, so that they have the fair chance of choosing who they want to be their leaders in Jonglei State. So we're very happy that we have done a lot of preparation in that regard, which is to educate the general population, especially, you know, youth leaders, chiefs, and all this local administration, that tomorrow when this happens, they can also help.
And how confident are you in the effectiveness of these measures?
Well, I am very confident in our people, but we will have to see when this took place. The reason I'm saying that we'll have to see is because politicians will come with different requirements, you know, and this is part of why now you see political parties are divided over election. Some say there is no election, some say there is election, some say there should be extension. When we push for election and election is happening, there will be some who will feel that, oh, they're going to lose and they want to do something that makes them win. And that has to be stopped because it is a crime. We shouldn't do that.
Okay, in light of recent technological advancement, how is Jonglei State leveraging technology to enhance the efficiency, transparency of the electoral process?
That's why we want to wait for election commission. When they come, they have to let us know what system are we going to be using. Is it a digital system? Is it manually? They will have to tell us what do they recommend. And based on what they recommend, this is where now we can see if we're ready for it or if we're not. If we need some guidance, if we need some, that's what we'll have to see. So we leave it up to them. Let us see exactly how well they're prepared and what are they doing right now currently to make sure that the country is ready.
Okay, early on you have talked about the civic education that the state is currently doing. So what strategies is the state government also employing to promote voter education and civic engagement among the populace, particularly in remote areas?
First of all, we want to get over this notion that there should be no elections because parties are sending mixed messages to our population. Some will say there is election, some say no election, some say extension, some say no. Different mixed messages are being sent. So because of that, it hinders how we can educate our general population. Because when we're talking with them, some of them would say, oh yeah, we've been called, there is no elections. So it makes it a little difficult for us to educate. But we're pushing in the level of the state. As the state, what we're telling them, if election is not going to happen, let it not happen for everybody. If it's going to happen, we want to be ready. We want to make sure that, you know, we're up to the task because it is in their interest that South Sudan move forward. This, I will tell my colleagues that a transitional government or peace agreement arrangement is not a permanent system of government anywhere in the world. There are some who think that we can continue with the transition over and over, you know, and this is because they look at the elections, that is the way of losing job, you know. They connect the election security to a job security.
But is it not true? But after election, some of politicians will have lost their positions.
You lose your position because people don't put you in there. If you're protecting Sudan, you should not put the life of South Sudan at risk because of one position. Okay? Because if you don't do an election, you will keep your job because you extend the peace agreement. But who is going to suffer? The South Sudanese people. Like they're suffering right now. How many years has it been seen the signing of this peace agreement? And if you look at the economic situation, the ordinary citizens, they don't care who's on the seat. They care about their security to go or about their farm. They want to be able to do their businesses. They want to do, you know, small businesses here and there. That's all they worry about. But they're being kept hostage by politicians because politicians say that unless I have my job, this is where now South Sudan can move forward. If I don't know we're stuck, let us continue the extension so that I keep extending my position. And then I keep extending the suffering of South Sudanese and the risk of South Sudan falling apart. This should not be allowed by our citizens. And I always feel surprised when politicians are saying that and citizens are keeping quiet.
What do you want citizens to do?
Citizens should talk to their politicians in their own constituents. Because you've seen this. Some of the politicians are chairmen of the communities, right? You see somebody there, he's a minister, he's a chairperson of a community there.
Is that one right with your political constitution? Are you allowed to be a chairperson of the communities as a politician?
It should not be allowed, but it was allowed. Okay? It was
Why did
allowed.
you people allow it?
Well, I wasn't there when it was allowed. I got to be honest. I wasn't there when I was allowed. But it should not be allowed. Seeing it's allowed and it's working for them, that people are kept in the government because they are a chairman or chairwoman of that particular community, that community should speak to that person and tell them, do not extend our suffering. Make sure that election happen so that we elect you again, or we bring somebody else who we think will protect us or give us the social contract that we want. So citizens can do that, right? Your constituent, where you come from, your county, your payam can talk to you and tell you, stop doing this, otherwise we're not going to vote you in. That's how we can bring change. Not that you have to do violence, it doesn't work for violence.
So, Governor, why do we need election as a country?
Well, that's a really good question. I look at that if South Sudan don't go for election, we are risking this country to falling apart. Okay? This is the risk that I'm seeing, and I'm very worried, to see that happen. Number one, the entire world is fed up with us. As we speak right now, we don't have any, attentions of the international community. We don't have any attention of the region because people feel that we're not serious enough to resolve our issues. And imagine if we don't go for an election, look at the economy situation. Do you think it will just get better? It will continue getting worse. And why is it getting better? Because of this big government in the world that we created. Okay, we're the biggest government pretty much in like any country in the world. Okay, and we are how much is our population? Nearly 12 million people, and we have a bigger government more than the United States and China. Okay, where are we going to get resources to fund that government? If we go back to the system of government and we elect our leaders, we'll go back to a smaller government. Okay, functional government that will have one directive, that will have one goal and one mission and vision for this country. Then even those who lose election, their life will be guaranteed because South Sudan will go back to its normal way. You can be able to do business, you can be able to do something, and you can come back. But imagine South Sudan without election. Hypothetically, we don't go for election, and we're trying to go for an extension.
Looking beyond the election, what tangible changes can the citizen of South Sudan expect in terms of governance, economic reform, reconciliation, and constitution process? How will the outcome of the election shape the country's trajectory?
Well, what it would do is that those who will be elected will know that their contract is only whatever period of time. They will know that there will be another elections. So they will be compelled to speed up, to at least show something that they have done something. Because if they don't do that, then the next election, they will not be voted in. That's what shaped, so many countries. All leaders around the world. You come into the office, know that your term will end in 5 years, in 6 years, in 4 years. And within that time, you have to do something for the citizens to vote you in again. This is what will happen. Now it's not happening. We don't have that now because people know that they get their job not from the citizens, from the agreement. The longer you extend the agreement, that's it. That's all you need to care about. So that's what will end when we have an election. People will work knowing that in 5 years, 4 years, there will be an election. And within that election, they will make sure that they want to do something.
So if the elections don't take place this year, what will be the perception of the world towards South Sudan? Let's get the answer after the break.
Welcome to Powerhouse with Coach Maker, your weekly engagement into the heart of the nation's political and economic pulsation. Live 7 p.m. on SSBC television. This is Powerhouse where realization meets empowerment, just on SSBC television.
You are welcome back after that short break. Like I said, we are here hosting the governor of Jonglei State, His Excellency Denay Jock Chagor, to tell us his preparation or his state preparations ahead of December general elections. So before we took a short break, I had asked if we don't go for election this year, what will be the perception of the world towards South Sudan?
Well, I personally predict that the perception will not be good. It will not be what we want the world to see us. You know, some individuals around the world are starting to have, you know, doubts about our seriousness. We're talking about elections right now, and if you look at our election preparation, it's not even adequate to what can be seen that the election is going to happen in just a few months. There are some countries that are going to be having an election at the same time as us. But if you look at their preparation and our preparation, some of them would say, no, they're not going to have an election. And so we're just racing around with the clock to make sure that we keep our integrity as a country. And that's what I want our citizens, our politicians, to look at this, that it's not about individual, it's about us as a nation. The South Sudan that you love so much, how do you want it to be seen by the rest of the world? Do you want it to be seen as a country that people don't take it seriously? Or you want it to be seen as a country that you want to be proud of and you want people to respect you? So this is what every citizen and every politician need to look at this, far beyond just what the small position you want. Look at it in a broad way. 10 years from now, 30 years from now, how do you want South Sudan to be seen by the rest of the world? In the region, how do you want South Sudan to be seen within East Africa? Do you want it to be seen as a country that people do not respect? Do you want our citizens to be laughed at? Okay, these are the things that we need to iron out and come together as a country.
But as we speak now, there are opinions that the election should be postponed.
There are those opinions there, okay? But I disagree. I strongly disagree on two things. First, it's not good for our country. Second of all, our country will not be united. Because some would say that, okay, we have not done this. Census, unification of forces, and repatriation of refugees, this has not been done. Okay, if we extend it again, what guarantee do you give us that you're going to complete that all? If we did not complete it in 3 years, we extended it, had the roadmap to complete it, we didn't do it in the roadmap, what guarantee do you have that we're going to do it in whatever time you want? There's no guarantee. And that's what makes me think that it's all about politicians wanted to secure a position before elections. They want to look at the election that I'm going to be pushed away and I will never be there. And so let me make sure that my position is guaranteed. There are some who are saying that there should be no election, but internally they want election if they are given the position that they want. So you look at that, it becomes election of positions. And we want to guarantee positions before election. That's ridiculous.
Okay, what do you think will happen in our country if the elections are postponed again?
Here's what will happen. Number one, economic situation will deteriorate. Our citizens will be going to refugees all over the world. United Nations will not have money to pay for food all over our country. We will have a shrinking government that will not be taking care of all the responsibility. We will have the national community fading up with us. As we speak right now, I don't think IMF and World Bank can even loan cash to our country because of how they feel that our financial record and everything. These are the things that will happen. Security situation will deteriorate because without economic proper way of paying our security forces, law enforcement, if they're not there, the citizen will be off the hook by themselves. The security situation will deteriorate, economic situation will deteriorate, then what kind of South Sudan do you have left? And that's where this politician say that there should be no election. They're pushing us to that. Because tomorrow, if we get into that dish, they will jump out and say, well, look at that. They get us into this, it's not me. Well, they're the one who were denying the country from having an elections. All right? Election is a normal system of government in any country. There has to be a one winner in any seat, parliamentary seat, presidential seat, governor seat, all of this seat. You cannot be there for the rest of your life. It cannot be. And so even if you want to extend the transition, you keep on doing it until you sit by yourself, extend it by yourself. It shouldn't happen. So this is what people need to think about. But this is very, very important. They're not thinking about it because they've never been there. Okay? They've never seen it when a country is in a difficult situation. They've never seen it. Many of us, people coming out from the bush, they've never seen how bad it gets. So now tomorrow when it gets to where it gets, some of them will jump out and say, no, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. That's what they will say.
Governor, we have talked about politicians who want to reject election to maintain their positions. So coming closer to your door, will you run for election as the next governor again in Jonglei State?
Well, that thing is my party to decide. I don't know where I'm going to be, and I don't look at my position as something that should keep this country hostage or keep this state hostage or anything. It is up to my party to decide. It might be somebody else. Who cares? So I don't have any position now.
And you don't have any position in mind that you want to go for during election?
No, it will be my party to decide. We will have to have a convention. And by the way, we are a coalition, SAWA. And so we will have a convention where we will have to have our flag barrier. We will have to have our candidate for governors, MPs, and all along. So wherever I fall in, it will come, when the party sits. But that's how I want the other politician to look at it that way. Look at it that this is not about you. It's not about individual. It's about the country. And where the country wants you, you go there. If the country doesn't want you, then step aside and let the country move forward. There will be a time where you can come back and serve.
Okay, what are your commitments for the upcoming term in case your party decide to bring you back as the governor?
Well, I think I will have to wait until that time when that decision is made. Seriously, when that decision is made, that's where I will see exactly where I can, or if I actually accepted it, that I can, take up that role. And so right now I'm paying attention on making sure that our people are secure. People are going hungry, and I want to make sure that they're secure. They're not going to kill themselves, and we want to keep our state united, among all our tribes. We have Nuer, Dinka, Anuak in our state. And this is a ritual of Jonglei State. We want to maintain our security, even if we have external threat from outside. That's our priority right now. And priority number 2 is to make sure that the election happen in South Sudan.
What priorities, like you have said, you've been conducting peace, should I say communities, peace talk. So how are they responding? Is it positive?
It is positive, yes. That's what led us to this point 3 years on without having any clashes among communities within Jonglei State. And with people in this area, we are doing it. Although they attack us every single day, every now and then, raiding cattle, taking children, we continue pushing for peace. Because if we retaliate, we're more than them. And if we retaliate, it would be more severe to them than it is for us. But we always want to call them for peace. And we continue talking to them, even if they attack us every now and then. So we are seeing the bigger picture of South Sudan. We're not seeing a small length of South Sudan. And we see that, Jonglei State is the biggest state in the country. And so we must be biggest too in ideas and bringing people together. We have to champion that.
All right, Governor, we have seen recently the president appointed your deputy as a lady for the first time in the history of Jonglei State. So how are you responding to that? How is it been working with a lady?
It is great.
Deputy governor?
It's great to the sense that we want to give everybody a chance. A government of South Sudan is not a government of individuals. It's a government of the people of South Sudan. We're here to serve. And we've been talking about 35% that it should be adhered. So I think it's good to have the first female deputy governor in Jonglei State in history. All along it has been men. Okay, and now finally, we have a lady. So it is good, and then let us see. We're just getting started. So we are very hopeful, and I hope that it will be in a good hands.
All right, Governor, as the leader of, let's say you are the leader of other political parties in Jonglei State. So what are you doing to ensure that they are peaceful at the political parties?
Well, what we're doing, number one, we're focusing on security. We want to make sure that there is no any party that should be denied an access all over Jonglei State. And we have issues with some of our counties that were preventing, other political parties to go to their counties to do their political work. And so we're telling them that you cannot do that. If you're a county commissioner or whatever, and your job is to deny other political parties, you will never be in that position at all. And so we want to make sure that all the parties have access. Number two, we want to make sure that all the parties play with the same set of rules. You cannot say that I am this party, everything belongs to me. No, you're not going to do it in Jonglei State. Whether you're big, small, whatever, we must play with the same set of rules. When you are in the government, in the executive or in the parliament, be there as a representative of the people of Jonglei State. When you go to your political party area, you can raise your flag, you can do your political party activities, there's no problem. But do not bring the political party politic into the office when you're supposed to serve all the people of Jonglei State. Once you do that, we will have problem. And I've been doing that to people who tend to do that. And I told them, no, you cannot do that. We're all the same. We're all son and daughter of Jonglei State. You can have your own time to campaign for your party, go everywhere you want, but do not deny other citizens services because they're not from your party, or you have like some of them because they're not from your area and anything. We don't want to do that, and it has been working so well.
All right, Governor, do you have any message to Jonglei people, anything that you feel like you should discuss or come to an end?
My message to them is that let us keep South Sudan in our heart. Let's make sure this country is far better than any interest that we're looking for. And in any situation that we're in, let's make sure that South Sudan is bigger than any of us. And South Sudan will always be there. So it is our duty to make sure that as a citizen, as a government official, as a politician, do what you can for your country as long as you're still alive. Do something for your country. Don't just put your interests first. Just make sure you put your country first and you do what you can do for your country.
That's it from the Governor of Jonglei State, His Excellency Denay Jock Chagor. He has affirmed his state readiness for the general election come December 2024. And as we speak now, he's just waiting for the directives from the National Election Commission. And Jonglei State as well as started the civic education for the upcoming general election. So that's it. On behalf of the team, we thank you for joining us and being part of our broadcasting. Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Powerhouse with a Coach Maker, your weekly engagement into the heart of the nation's political and economic pulsation. Live 7 p.m. on SSBC television. This is Powerhouse, where realization meets empowerment, just on SSBC television.